suppose.
Let's see, premium on X account. Okay, if I keep hitting go live, let's say remove X, save changes. No, this probably says that I'm live. Notification. How's your career growth? Non-existent.
Midlife, maybe. Not growing. Yeah, no, I don't. I expect that I have no career growth left in me. So I think I've capped out on where I'll go. I'm not a very good explainer of things and reducer of things, so it's there's not really a advanced position for me. And I don't like playing ball with everything that people have, especially in a traditional organization. They have contrarian opinions a lot of times. And that doesn't make for somebody who gets promoted, I suppose. Although I don't really express them a lot, but I used to. Like, I used to have retros and stuff, and I used to, let's try this, or here's an idea, or whatever. And I was always met with skepticism. Like, anytime you do anything that's not just the normal path of adding more and more and more restriction and just ceremony and documentation and stuff, it's like, God forbid you suggest that pull requests are just 90% of the time just rubber stamps, so just merge anyways. So,
yeah. How dare you be a progressive programmer?
Yeah. That's what I would say, a more perhaps libertarian. I think things need to be a lot more fluid. I hate the idea of creating tickets. It's like, once you're done, just do it. If you need to communicate with somebody to have them do it, then talk to them. Don't write it. You don't need to write everything down and then try to compose it in a way that's understandable, even if you're not there. It should just be markers for conversation. Like, go make this happen. That's the extent of what should be written in any ticket. And then, what does that mean? Should be, talk to me about it. Then you can write it down in your own notes.
I see both sides of it.
Yeah, I mean, I know that not everyone works that way, but I just. Yeah.
So, I think tickets can be beneficial because it's work that is on the radar, that can be planned and tracked, and can contribute to patterns for that can be reviewed.
Oh, I'm not saying that the creation of tickets isn't bad. I'm saying the creation of tickets is a means to, or is it as a means to communicate what needs to be done in detail. By the time you end up writing out half of what the detail is, actually, you could have just written the code yourself, writing it as a programmer. Like, if you have people who are, analysts or something, and that's all they're doing is writing tickets, well, maybe that's different, but, I don't want to write a dissertation every time that I have to put something down. But yeah, I don't know. No career growth for me. How about you? You running the org yet? CIO? CTO?
I had an interview for a F# role a couple of days ago with the recruiter of the company. Senior F# developer, in which the role is to work on Fable, or work with Fable.
Oh, nice. No, you don't like web stuff though, right? So,
no, I don't.
This is a translation like layer or a compiler.
Yeah, I don't. Well, yeah, I don't. I don't like HTML and I don't like JavaScript. Of course, the whole point of this is to it transpiles to JavaScript.
Mhm.
I don't like HTML
Why not? It's just fine. It's just a markup language.
because I still don't know what a div is.
It's just a container. That's it. It was a container.
Well, what direction does it flow? Because people create like tabled content out of divs, and I still don't understand it.
Well, like a div is a block, and so it depends on what you're putting in the div. That depends on like the flow state. So if you put divs in the div, they in a block state they stack on each other. If you put inline,
Vertically or horizontally, like this stuff is
yeah,
confusing to me.
horizontally or sorry, vertically, they'll stack. Um, Text. There's a bunch of different display types. By default, a div is it depends again what's on what you put inside of it. So like inline, if you put text, everything's inline. So it'll go until it wraps. If you have wrapping turned on, if you don't have wrapping turned on, it'll go off. Like it's all about
Well, I mean,
configuring that div to do what you want it to do.
well, what if
So,
I have divs, which you said are containers,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know, I want to put like controls in there, like buttons.
Yeah.
How do I specify that those buttons should go horizontal versus vertical?
Yeah, so in that case, what I would do is probably set it up as so really what you're doing is not knowing the CSS part of it. The HTML part should be fine because you could literally make everything a div. It's not there's certain accessibility problems with that, but technically you could make everything a div and just everything is CSS beyond that. But yes, so to do that, I would do flexbox, set the display of the div to be flex, and then set the uh, flex orientation to be row, which is what it is by default. So I'll just leave it. And there you've got it horizontal, the buttons. Or you could do, I mean,
That
or
sounds
the
so
other thing is,
complicated.
or you could do grid, which is the same as what's in it's
There's a
very,
grid
very simple.
control.
There's a grid CSS setup, yeah. So you can define grid columns and that, and then you can position everything by grid. It's a little different because things don't like fluidly wrap. So
So
the nice thing about Flex is if you have two, like let's say you have 10 buttons, right? And you
mhm.
have a wide screen where all 10 of those buttons display, you can have them all 10 across, depending on what your basis, flex basis, or whatever is. I think that's the correct term. And then as you start to reduce it, those buttons will then wrap. If you have a grid control, what will happen is they just start to mush together. So you have to do more in terms of handling uh, queries, media queries for what size your screen is and all that stuff. Although there's also container queries, which I'm not. CSS is changing a lot all the time. They keep adding new things that are make it better, but yeah. Yeah, one day we should just do we just bring up HTML and show you. It's like once you learn how to do it, the CSS part, there's very few times where you get to things where you're just like, oh, I don't know how to make this look like the way I want it to. The one case I'd say is certain text. There's certain scenarios with text where you want it to like, let's say, truncate and put, let's say if you wanted to truncate and put ellipses on it, you can do that, but it depends on like the way that the container is constructed, and it can be really complicated. So there's some other things with some like width type things. You'll run into hiccups every once in a while, but like the 80% thing, once you learn a little CSS about Flexbox and grids, it's all super easy.
I like XAML, and I'm sure web developers hate XAML.
Yeah, didn't they get it so that they could run XAML in the browser now too? Pretty sure that somebody put a project like that together.
I'm talking about
Not like Silverlight or anything like that, but like
Uno. Was that it?
I don't know.
I mean,
like vaguely.
you're talking about post Silverlight, but
Yeah.
I think Uno was some man in the garage framework that was putting XAML on the browser.
Hmm.
But yeah, like when they were like Xamarin when Xamarin Forms uh also had an option for CSS. And I was like, why can't you just get them to come over to XAML? Why are you trying to appease them? I mean, I get it. I mean, as a business, you want to attract market share. I hate the HTML stack.
Yeah, it's really not.
Make Silverlight great again.
I don't think it was ever great. It's. I think because you do everything with styles on each element, right?
Hold up, I have to acknowledge Gamlor. He's on a mobile connection today. He might drop in and out because of it. I find it fascinating that my only viewer religiously, even if he's not in front of his work machine, will have me on his cell phone. I'm honored. Scott is learning web stuff. Happy learning. Stick to the HTML browser stuff. The frameworks on top of that change all the time from company to company, from fad to fad. That's exactly exactly the reason why I've been avoiding the HTML stack like the plague, or web development like the plague, because I don't want to keep relearning the latest framework and the latest way of doing things, like from
Well,
knockout.
HTML isn't the latest
No.
way to do things.
Well,
It's
no. It's your knockout. It's your
because that got deprecated or not. I think it's still running, but
knockout, Angular, React, uh,
you.
na-
But
Vue. Name like 6 others.
HTML6 is big now too. But
You have
React is the big one. I mean, Vue is an Angular kind of the
Bootstrap, which
Tailwind. Yeah, there's a lot of libraries out there, but like thing is once you learn the fundamentals, then learning libraries is not too big a deal. You actually probably wouldn't mind.
jQuery.
Yeah, jQuery isn't used much anymore.
When I moved to Miami, like 11, 12 years ago, jQuery was everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't get a job, as far as I'm concerned, if you didn't have jQuery experience. It was everywhere. ASP.NET, MVC, Rails, PHP.
Those PHP's back end. Rails is back end. It's the same as .NET.
It's
Let's learn
all,
you some HTML.
it's all web development to me.
What do you want to learn how to do? I got my screen shared or a Windows shared. Here's 2 buttons.
Well, you could take a screenshot and then tell ChatGPT to render the HTML for.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Someone taught me that last Saturday.
Oh yeah. That's really good at doing that kind of stuff. I mean, who knows if it'll be like work the way you want it to work, but it probably will look the way you want it to look. But here, I share my window. I'll teach you some CSS and JavaScript. What do you want to learn how to do?
I want you to make those two buttons horizontal.
Horizontal. Okay. Well, so interestingly enough, I think buttons are inline to begin with. So if you do that, they're inline like that. And I don't know. I don't think that this is getting any stuff. But so if you
keep saying inline. What does that mean?
So
The orientation is horizontal.
It's the way that they are, like the way that they work within the like flow mechanics. So see how I switched it to block there, which is what the default of a div is. So the button is block, and when you have a set of blocked things within, a block container, they basically stack them like this, which is probably what you're used to seeing. But if you had, let's say, so flex is the thing that really opens up a lot. So I think that should be enough to set it horizontal, and then you could be like, put some space between them. Yeah, now they're horizontal. So this is the class is that you put on there makes the container like flex. So everything within it flows in a flex pattern. Now you could also do grid, and then see how that even changes stuff like that. And then grid template columns 1FR. So that spreads it across two, like that. Now, if you wanted then the button to be, switch it back to inline.
How does the button container know that its target control is a div?
So when you put the class here, that's what puts it. So it doesn't matter what this is.
Okay, I see it.
You can
I was only looking at the right hand part. Okay.
Yeah, div is really just like a container that doesn't really have any like real like expected behavior, or like it doesn't have styles attached to it. Like if you were to make this a paragraph, for instance, which is another kind of container, right? What you get is that paragraphs will have or whatever will have a set of where is it? It'll have like padding or margins on it. Oh, I gotta go into it. I see. So down into here. So you see like it didn't update to P. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. So yeah, so there you can see if it's a P dot button container, it gets us a bit of margin on it to kind of separate it from other paragraphs. And there's things called collapsing margins too, or whatever. So divs don't have all of that padding and whatever. They're just kind of an empty standard container, I guess. But yeah, you can do it. It's just a matter of you just have to learn what the default behavior of things are, and then the commands and the CSS to make it do what you want it to do. But once you get beyond that, it's really not that complicated to do. Supposed to, if you put, let's say, one of these buttons in the div, I'm guessing that. See, now you've got the buttons like that. Flex is really what I use a lot of, but yeah. So
what's LFR?
Hmm?
Did I just ask you that? I don't even know.
This right here.
Yeah.
It's one fractional unit. So you're saying that this grid is, here's your full width and here's a fractional unit. If we do this, it wouldn't do anything because there's nothing in there. But you can see it splits it up into threes. Then you can get into like,
How much of your work is doing layout?
me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Very little, really. I'm gonna have this backwards.
Do you write more business logic than anything else?
No, it's just you don't need to, like, once you get certain baseline things in place, you usually have to maybe apply a couple, maybe
No.
some styles, but it's very,
I was talking about your job.
yeah. No, I'm talking about in my job. Like, I'm using Vue, so a lot of times it's just putting components into things and then maybe applying a little bit of CSS to get them to work. But there's a lot of like features there immediately to kind of handle the all the layout and stuff. So you just compose things together. It's pretty simple. So, but yeah, I don't know. Those I having like web components really made web development, specifically the JavaScript side of it, a lot more enjoyable. Like HTML and CSS is like there's some frustrating things about it, but once you get kind of a baseline, like you can do 80% of what you need to do without any problems. But JavaScript was always a pain in the rear because you'd have to do a lot of stuff like setting up, finding things in the DOM and trying to like manipulate them and whatever. But Vue or React or whatever makes that all really, really simple because it's just there's this shadow DOM and you compose basically you write functions that compose into that DOM, and then it kind of handles a lot of the binding for you and all the reactivity in that. So super easy. Yeah, no, if you just took the time, I'd probably like it. But once you get the few tricks in your sleeves, you'll feel like Flexbox. Or Flexbox and grids, you'll be like, oh, I can do everything now.
That's the way I feel about XAML.
Yeah.
And grids.
But yeah, they've got grids, and then you can set things in grids, and you can like just call them like grid spans and stuff like that, or column spans, all that kind of stuff. I don't use grids a whole lot. I use them for certain things when it really is like a grid layout and you want it to be kind of statically a grid layout. I tend to use Flex more. Anyways, what else is new? You selling on Amazon yet?
No, I cancel my subscription for the Helium 10.
Mm.
I mean, everything looks like there's going to be a imminent trade war via tariffs, heavy tariffs on China.
Yeah, for not nuke to oblivion first. Hopefully not. I don't think we will be.
There's a plan that a congressperson is introducing to have a crypto back, or basically for Bitcoin to be backed by the United States government. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No.
Do you know what the motivation is?
Money? It's always money.
Well, to do what?
I don't know. Inform me.
The bill's being introduced such that the United States will have a Bitcoin reserve just like they have a oil reserve,
Mm-hmm.
in which they want to own 5% of all Bitcoins, and with the plan being that in 20 years they can pay off their national debt.
Oh, just because it keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah,
So they
I mean,
basically want to, the government wants to invest in
they
Bitcoin
they
with the
they,
idea that they think it's going to continue to go up.
they want to. They're talking about annually purchasing 200,000 Bitcoins annually, meaning
Jeez,
each year they acquire another 200,000 Bitcoins for the next 20 years.
yikes. There's a lot of Bitcoin.
I mean, that's going to drive the price.
Going to the moon. Why can't they do it with Doge? No, because Doge continues to make new coins. It never ends.
The question is, how can another state destroy Bitcoin?
You just take out the infrastructure, the technical infrastructure. I mean, I know it's decentralized, but you just wipe the internet. You can't really do a lot with Bitcoins in.
Well, the Bitcoin still exists, regardless if there's
Yeah,
internet or
yeah,
not.
it's a big token or whatever. But
I mean, nothing. I mean, there's no. Well, maybe if the government backs it, then maybe we'll finally see transactions in Bitcoin.
we see you can pay for things in Bitcoin today.
Who pays for things in Bitcoin? Who?
Not many people, but people do, or you can. Yeah, I
Like
bought a
what?
pizza with a Bitcoin.
You bought a pizza.
No, somebody did. I watched the
Exactly.
video. Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's commonplace. I'm saying it's possible to
Can I go
do.
to the mall and purchase something with Bitcoin? And the answer is it's not commercially adopted.
Yeah, but isn't it like, didn't they have it in like Apple Pay or something like that though?
The fact that you have to ask means that
Well, I don't have Apple Pay. I don't have it. I don't use so the Coinbase wallet. Trade Bitcoins with Coinbase. No. Oh man, no, it's all about buying it with Apple Pay. But anyhow, yeah, we'll get there. I mean, it'll probably become a transactional. Hopefully not like the worst thing that could happen is that we produce a digital currency and that's all we have, because then the government can control all of it without any sort of like. It's just very easy to take away digital currency. Nothing like good hard cash is great. Physical cash.
oh yeah, I remember like on TurboTax them asking all these questions about my crypto assets. And I'm like, oh god. I hate the fact that whenever I have to liquidate, whether it's stocks or crypto, I almost always sell at a loss, and then 6 months later, everything rises like crazy after I sold it, and I have to
Means you're
sell it.
bad.
I have to sell it in order to pay my taxes. I swear to God, it's all planned.
Or it or other people are taking their Bitcoin out to do their taxes, which drops the price, right?
Uh,
Because you're flooding the market. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's just the coincidence of timing.
yeah, maybe you're right.
I haven't done a lot of investing since I'm working in fintech, and I've got these like reporting requirements and approval requirements. It's kind of vague on what the actual approval requirements are for investing. So I know that there's some companies that are on a list that you can't invest in these without getting approval up front to ensure that there's no insider trading type thing going on. So that's I don't know. I don't want to make myself a target of anything, so I'm just not going to do much direct investing while I'm working with this org. But anyhow, my nephew got me to go to the gym a couple times this week again, so that's good.
Are you sore?
Probably will be tomorrow. We did leg day yesterday, so my arms were sore after Monday when we did it but it was kind of delayed. It took a day. So
Are you done running, or are you still active?
I haven't run since September, I think.
Slacker.
Yeah, well, my foot's kind of messed up. There's like I don't know if I've got plantar fasciitis or something, but it's not getting better. So I got to go see a foot doctor, get that taken care of, and then
That sucks.
yeah, I'm thinking about this next year doing trying to focus more on 5Ks and trying to do them faster rather than doing longer runs. I haven't signed up for any marathons or anything yet, but for getting to 5, 10Ks, a little bit more manageable and requires less time commitment for training and all that. But because I don't know, you do a 3 mile run or a 6 mile run, it doesn't take nearly as long as doing you spend basically half a day doing a long run. It sucks. And you can only do them really on the weekends because, by the time you do them on a weeknight, it's your entire night basically.
Yeah.
But got any big plans for Thanksgiving next week?
No, I was invited to have dinner back in Cleveland. I really don't want to though.
Why not?
I told you I'm battling depression right now.
Oh yeah.
It's not going away.
Well, being around people might help.
It sucks, dude.
Yeah, I've been there for sure.
Well, you were there like 20 years ago.
What, depressed?
Well, when it's not going away, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You got to. I don't know.
The catch 22 is if I try to get like professional help, then it gets documented, and then it becomes a barrier to entry. If I want to, it becomes a barrier to entry for security clearances,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because now you're a risk. So damn if you do, damn if you don't. Damn if you want to try to get professional help with people that are trained to get you out of this rut, because it gets documented, it shows up on your record, and then they're just going to start interrogating the hell out of you. Oh, what kind of thoughts do you have? How did this all start? Well, tell me exactly what you were thinking about. Did you ever consider doing this? When? Like, I don't want to deal with that, man. So, I mean, without going dark, I don't think it's a coincidence with like the issue that the military has with the amount of people that do things to themselves, because like if they want to grow in their career, which usually requires higher security clearance, they can't be transparent about the struggles they have. Else, they don't have those opportunities, and it's pretty effed up.
Yeah. I wonder if a guy could do if you could just do like well, I guess the only thing would be if you got meds. That would be if you were just looking to talk to a therapist, you could probably do that and say, no, I was just working on myself. Therapy is supposed to be pretty good at helping. The drugs are
They
not. Yeah,
no they
they're kind of artificial.
no when you need to be cleared for when you need to get a security clearance so that you can operate or perform a certain job, like they're going to ask you straight up, what's the history of your mind? And I mean, dude, I was interrogated 3 weeks ago for 2 hours, and it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had because they dangle that you're under oath and that if you're not transparent, if you lie or if you withhold information, then that is a felony. And then they just started asking you really, really personal questions. It was just exhausting, man.
Well, I suppose you could always just be like, no, I'm done with this, and then and
Well, then I
then
lose
just
my
not do government work.
then I lose my job.
Yeah. Well, who knows? With Doge, you might be losing it anyways if you're not part of that efficient part. But I suppose you're looking. Are you DoD then? Is that what the? Okay. I don't know. I think the DoD will be actually. You know what I was thinking? I really want to see happen is that I want them to change the name of the DoD back to the Department of War. Well, no, I mean if you think about it, like you're dumping money into the Department of Defense, it's defense. It's a good thing. You're dumping money into the Department of War. There's a little bit more of a why are we putting so much money into war? You know, like if you call it what it actually is, the dynamic changes a little bit in the way that you describe what you're doing. Defense is considered just kind of be a universally accepted good thing, but war isn't.
Yeah, so it's easier to coerce.
It's a mind game.
It's easier to automatically deduct taxes from people's hard-earned money every 2 weeks. I mean, I wish they itemize on people's what do you call it on
like
people's check receipts,
checks, yeah.
but exactly what percentage of their money is going to what agency.
Yeah.
This much has been going to child support. This much is going to Ukraine. This much is going to name
debt.
something.
It'll be all debt soon.
Like if they itemize all that stuff, then they would have a different problem.
Yeah, but like that fits into that. You know, if you see that you're spending all your money is going to the Department of War, you know, I think
this much
there's
is
a little
going
bit
to
more weight.
this much is going to Area 51. That doesn't exist.
This was going to pay our alien overlords.
Yeah,
so
like, this amount of money is going to a program that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Now, what you need to just do is come up and go on a fishing trip. Get out of Miami for a little bit, and
yeah, I want to.
Don't go to Cleveland. Don't go to a depressing place. Go be in nature for a little while. Ground yourself.
Dude, I've been watching a lot of animals murder other animals. Like that stuff is showing up on my thumbnails now on YouTube.
Yeah, that's probably not. I don't know. Good. You ever go hunting?
Watching animals murder other animals.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fascinating.
You ever go hunting?
No, I don't have it in me. I could probably gun down some like rodents.
Squirrel hunting. What about birds?
I don't think I could kill a squirrel. I'm talking about literally take a scope on a BB gun and gun down like
a mouse,
rats and mice.
Yeah. I wouldn't feel bad about shooting a partridge or like a grouse or whatever. A bird. Like those kinds of birds. I wouldn't obviously kill an eagle or anything like that. Or
I would gun down a pigeon if I knew that pigeon would be cooked or prepared and sent over to like Sudan for food or something. Like I can't just kill something besides like.
Well, yeah, you killed
pets,
it.
Just for the sake of killing them. I can't.
No, you wouldn't kill it just to kill it. You kill it to eat it. So grouse is like chicken. It's a more gamey chicken. And you like my dad would go grouse hunting or pheasant hunting when you were a kid and bring it home and you ate it. And you'd have to eat like, but when you eat it, you'd have to be careful because you'd have to like pick out the shotgun pellets. Um, because it's a scatter shot. A bird shot's just a bunch of really small pellets that you shoot out of a shotgun, and they get lodged in the bird's flesh or whatever. So you have to when you eat it, you have to like be careful not to bite into it.
I wonder. I wonder how many cops and how many soldiers struggle with having to pull the trigger.
Oh, you mean like in the battlefield? Or like, I'm assuming that the adrenaline takes care of a lot of that.
Well, the
Is
real
is
time, but
yeah.
what about after it wears off? And maybe they like a soldier, they might do it from a football field away.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when they need to fill out the report after the smoke is cleared and they get up close and personal to search for intelligence and all the other stuff?
Yeah, that's why a lot of people have problems. I mean, I don't think most people, you know, generally, like most of the population doesn't want to kill other people. Like, and is going to feel bad about it, even if they're trying to kill you. I
Um, I mean, I would agree, but you don't think that sometimes people can be conditioned to be tribal, such that they don't look at the enemy who looks
yeah,
different,
yeah,
talks different, like they make them subhuman?
yeah. I mean that's people are conditioned to believe that, right? I assume that the first few times that anyone does it, though, it probably still takes a bit of like, or it just weighs on you. But yeah, that's why to do it. Oftentimes you dehumanize people to try to take care of that angle, but it's people
It's
aren't inherently violent unless there's a scarcity of resources and they have to be.
true.
Yeah.
You know what's fascinating about the mind? It's like virtual. Like, so the brain is supposed to be the organ that is the authority for survival, right?
Hmm.
It sends messages down whatever channels so that a lot of your organs involuntarily just function the way that it needs to. And then they increase levels, reduce levels on behalf of the brain being the organ that is the power center for survival. That's physical.
Hmm.
The mind is fascinating because the mind is like the virtual model of that organ that we try to control, but we also get ourselves in trouble because sometimes we can't control it and we go down paths that are really hard to get out of.
Yeah.
And besides cats and dogs, maybe well, elephants and
Dolphins.
apes, dolphins too. Okay, or whales. Like I look at a lion. I'm not sure if they. I mean, maybe animals do grieve and then they move on and they murder another animal. But it's just weird, man.
I think lions grieve. I think that most animals, but you don't know if it's just a condition of. I mean, it's a system, right? My dogs are fighting. It's a system, though. Like grief is a system. It's a survival system.
What was Gambler's question about 20
I
minutes,
think he was wondering about the tax where
10
that
minutes ago?
shows up. Yeah, it doesn't show up. It just we all we see is this much in income tax goes to the federal government. or this much goes to. It does break it down if it's
Oh
Medicare,
no,
Social
yeah,
Security, or
yeah. Medicare,
payroll
Social
tax.
Security, child support. I would assume that stuff shows up.
Yeah.
FICA. I can't remember what that stands for.
Do you think they'll get rid of the income tax then? I think Trump's gonna do it.
No.
No.
What would be the motivation?
Well, it's stupid because with an income tax, the government like basically owns your money before you get it. Like you first the money goes, they take their portion, then you get it.
I mean, W-2, yeah, they're going,
Yeah.
but I mean, you write them a check, they're going to get their money regardless.
Yeah, but it's based on your productivity and stuff. It really shouldn't be.
Yeah, but I mean, the consequence of not having the IRS is the deficit is just going to continue ballooning.
Well, no, that's if you don't compensate it. So the idea is just to pay with tariffs, and you could potentially get into national sales tax, which I think isn't a bad idea. But it's all based on how much you consume, then, not how much you earn. So you can have really go out there and earn a lot, and you're not taxed or not you're not you're not forfeiting money on what you earn. It's all based on how much you decide to spend. So
That and its realized earnings.
yeah. So I think I don't know. I think sales tax would be better, but tariffs are interesting too. The government was funded entirely by tariffs until like 1913. That's when the income tax first came in, and since then it's kind of ballooned.
How do
There's
you
other
know
ways.
this?
I think it's fairly common knowledge, but
1913, you were that exact or spot on with the date?
well, I saw. So I knew this before, but I literally saw a tweet like 2 days ago that called out like 1913 as being the year. It was 1914. It's around that time frame, anyways. But yeah, that's it. Used to be entirely tariff based, and then someone had the bright idea of taxing income, and then it's never, it's ballooned since. But yeah, I don't know, man. Though you gotta make a change or something. Find a new hobby to get into. Something to get excited about.
Like what?
Hunting.
A bounty hunter?
Deer hunting or grouse hunting. Go hunt gators in the Everglades. Go hunt pythons.
Didn't we have
Python
this
bounty hunter.
conversation last Friday about
I think so.
dropping off spreading meth pills or meth like
Yeah.
seeds
Yeah.
and encouraging the addicts to go out there. And by the way, if you find some pythons, then we'll give you money in addition to all the free meth that's there.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You solve all the problems pretty easily like that.
Then you would have a whole bunch of wildlife on meth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like Cocaine Bear.
I tried to rent that movie and I could not figure out how to do it. Have you seen it?
We might even own like a digital copy of it. Yeah, I've seen it. It was okay. It wasn't anything to write home about. But I think it was like one of Ray Liotta's final movies, though, which is sad, but it is what it is.
I only own 2 movies. I own Creed and I own Avatar 2.
Why Avatar 2? Like it.
Because there wasn't an option to rent it.
Oh, I gotcha. I have a bunch of DVDs that sit around. We don't really buy much in DVDs anymore, but we used to buy a fair amount. So we've got a small library.
Are DVDs officially over now?
No,
I could go to Best Buy and they're going to have a whole bunch of DVDs.
I wouldn't say they'd have a whole bunch, but they would have some. Yeah, Blu-rays probably more, but yeah, no, we watch DVDs. Like not everything is online. So if you're, you know, in your camper in the middle of nowhere, having a DVD is nice. Yeah, no, there's still uses for physical media.
I would think it would fit on a thumb drive.
Well, sure, but you're gonna download it, put it on a thumb drive, and then try to. No, DVDs are way nicer, and you don't always need HD too. So why have Blu-ray? It's like having Blu-ray is nice for like movies like Avatar 2 or ones that are supposed to be visually stunning. But if it's a rom-com, you don't need high def. Or if it's a kids show, which is a lot of I think DVD uses around kids, honestly. Um, Also, there's people who just don't afford they can't afford streaming services month to month, so they might occasionally get a DVD and watch it
I paid
over and
off
over
my
again.
car yesterday. I reduced my car note. I just got liability, and you just reminded me to cancel my Disney Plus.
Yeah, really? Like you dropped down to liability on your car.
Yeah,
So if you got in a crash tomorrow, you get you get nothing for it.
if it was
Uh,
my fault, I would get nothing for it.
or you know, oh, Minnesota's a no fault state, so um, is Florida different?
Well, if the person has insurance, then they would pay for it. But I mean, you raise a good point.
Yeah, but they
Hey,
could be underinsured though too, and yeah, if it is your fault, yeah, then you just lose it all.
well, I'm paying $300 a month just for insurance.
A month
Yeah,
for full coverage?
yes.
Jeez, $300 a month. Did you have a lot of accidents or something
No,
prior? Like,
no.
why are they flagging you? As that's a lot. I think I
It
pay like $600 every 6 months or something like that. Or
what vehicle do you have?
I got an F-150 and a I don't know what our other one goes for insurance, but we've got a Hyundai Santa Fe. It was brand new though in 2022. So, but
And you pay how much?
I think I want to say that we only pay like maybe $600 every 6 months or something. We maybe pay $100 a month. $300 seemed like a lot.
So I
But
I have,
yeah,
I have a 2022 Genesis. It's a midsize SUV. It's a $65,000 vehicle, and yeah, maybe I'll.
I would probably still I would look at see if
Shop
there's
around.
options for yeah, look for like a high deductible one because then you might be able to pay less monthly, but not just be SOL if you get in a crash and total the thing. Like literally, if you total the thing, you're gonna get like a 6,500 $1,000 check. Then will probably reduce $55,000 check. Without the insurance, you get nothing. So even if your deductible is like, if it's basically a total, you'll get it. I don't know. You also want to keep that an eye on the value of the vehicle, and there should be like a calculation to say, at this point, I'm paying more than what I would presumably like get out of it. But
I mean, I'm doing the math. I'm paying like damn near $1,000 every 3 months,
yeah,
right?
yeah, that's
Multiply that
insane.
by multiply that by four.
But if
Yeah,
you call up and said, I want full coverage, or I want collision and whatever, the ones that would pay you out if it got really totaled, and be like, but I want a high deductible for it, like,
I did that yesterday.
and they were like, oh, they couldn't just reduce it to like $100 a month,
Oh,
or I don't know. What's your liability insurance then monthly?
oh, 170.
Oh, geez, that's not even like that much of a savings then.
I mean, it cuts it in half almost.
Who do you don't have to answer this if you don't want to.
Insurance.
Insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you shop around? I'd shop around, man. Go to like an agent and that has multiple things, or go on like I have State Farm, and State Farm is kind of expensive, but I'm not paying what you're paying. So I don't know. But unless you have accidents, or something like that that's causing it to go up, or your risk profile is higher for some reason, maybe with speeding tickets.
No.
Yeah, maybe it's because you're in Florida.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that. Remember, I live in Miami, this third world country within a country.
And they know you only drive it like that's
Also,
that's another
I
like
was I was telling them that yesterday. I was like, um, well, one is they said that my annual review for my policy was already conducted uh, the day before I called, and so like they review all that stuff. I was like, I mean, I have low mileage on my car. I only have like 11,000 miles. I've had this car for 3 years, so I really don't drive it. Um, or there are details I can provide about, where my car is stored the majority of the time. I mean, it's in a lockdown garage. Are there options for me to increase my deductible to reduce my monthly fee? Like I was asking questions. They're like, no. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just, how much, what would it be if I just got rid of full coverage and just paid the bare minimum? And so, yeah, but I'll take your advice. I'll probably make a phone call today to Geico and maybe
yeah, just grab like two or three of them. Find like two, three. Just call and get a quote. I mean, it doesn't hurt. Worst case, you find out they're all the same ballpark, and you're like, okay, well. So best case is, oh yeah, we'd give you full coverage for $150 a month or something like that. With this deductible or whatever. Maybe taking off things like windshield or whatever. If you're like, I just want to cover in case it's basically totaled, I bet you'd find someone who'd insure you.
mm,
Is your vehicles the only thing you have insured?
no, I have both my motorcycles insured. I pay cash for that. So like
Through the same
my
company?
yep, my Ducati, I think I paid like 1,800 for the entire year,
Hmm.
and then my Can-Am was only like $600
Oh,
for the
gotcha.
entire year. I'm gonna drop the Can-Am because I don't want to spend money to fix it, and it's been sitting for like probably 9 months now.
That's a trike too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe next summer I'll buy a bike. Been thinking about it, but yeah, man, I'd get I'd call around and shop around on that. Um, if you and especially if you can get bundled with your motorcycle and your car, you might save a little bit there too, because they like to do bundle and save type things.
Gambler says that they give away DVDs for free at our local library. Less popular movies. The other you can borrow. I think he has a typo. I think he meant to say homeless shelter. You get it?
Yeah, that's because but over there that probably is still. I don't know. We still have libraries here though too.
Are there homeless people all over the place?
No, because it's rural and cold. We occasionally get one or like people, but it's pretty rare.
You ever look at the obituary section of your paper in your town?
No, because I haven't got the paper in our town for a long time.
Oh, you don't hang around old people.
Yeah. What's your vehicle again? A
GV70.
GB70.
George Victor 70.
I was just going through a comparison thingy here once. I'm just curious. Oh man. We'll just pretend you're me. Yeah, I do wonder if geography matters. What's Miami's zip code?
33154.
Miami, Florida. Oh my gosh, why does it need your street address? I'll put in something stupid. Assuming they're not. I wonder if they're going to be like, oh, now you need this. And we're going to send it to you like this. Yeah. Oh, I hate when they do that. Oh, there we go. Progressive. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $835 on average. Oh, dumb. Oh, gosh. Takes a lot to like figure this all out. Annual mileage. Christ. Sorry, this is taking a little longer than I thought it would. You didn't get any more. You didn't get any more. Oh my god, I'm just gonna kill this. Yeah, I just call up and ask.
Certifications.
Certifications. No.
Um,
Why do it? It's pointless. Gives you something to work towards, though.
it's stressful.
Is it good stress or bad stress? Is it type 2 stress? Or no, type 2 fun?
It's bad stress. Like you're again, like I'm sure that it doesn't compare to like the bar or the boards. But you pretty much have to like it's as if you're expected to memorize like a 500-page textbook on a certain topic and know what syntax to write across like a dozen different products. So to answer your question, yeah, I still think about it, and I think about it every week. It's just going to be an investment and it's really hard. It would be a lot easier if I had a study buddy, which I had a study buddy for like the first 2 to 3 weeks, and then he dropped out. And I'm like, nah. So then I just had to keep on going.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People just drop out. What about you? Did I
No.
did I ever inspire you when I was going through that journey?
Maybe I thought for a half second about it, but I can't say that I would see myself getting any like value out of it, other than like I did have this one wild dream once that I would go and try to find every easy thing I could do or mid-level thing I could do that would add initials on my name, like certified project manager or something, or like notary public, or I don't know what other certifications you can get that you can put initials after your name, PMP. Yeah, and I would just go and take all of them so I could be like Sean Murkowski, ABCDEFG, HIJKLMNOP, and you just keep adding on credentials.
I mean, so what I will
But
say is it feels good applying for a job and highlighting my certification. It feels good being on the phone and them asking you to, you know, discuss my background and me saying, well, I'm a Azure certified solutions, or I'm a Microsoft certified Azure solutions developer. Yeah, I mean, it feels good when I'm able to say that, because I know for a fact the majority of people, I will be willing to bet 95% of the candidates that they interview, they don't have that certification, right? So it feels
yeah,
good. It
and then
feels
they
good to
go,
say
"Oh,
that.
you are? Oh, we use AWS here."
Yeah.
It should be like the thing is like a lot of that should actually be should carry over. It's not specific products, but the idea of cloud computing in general is like you have one provider. They're
The
all fairly similar.
the patterns do. I don't think the philosophies between the technologies are the same.
Hmm.
So the feedback that I received is that, contrary to belief, is that Azure is more polished than Amazon in regards to the user experience.
Oh yeah. I think that's
I mean, I haven't
100%
used
true.
Amazon, but that's the feedback that I've heard from several channels.
Hmm.
Um, and Azure is taking market share. I mean, now they're the biggest in Europe now. They're ahead of Amazon in Europe. And I would consider Europe the industry leader when it comes to software development uh,
Really?
practices. I would say so. I mean, when it comes to functional programming,
Oh yeah,
no. I'm saying as an example,
yeah.
um, and what's the consequence of that? Now your mainstream programming languages and your IDE vendors, they're all adding functional programming features year after year after year, probably for like the past like 8 years.
Hmm.
Um,
I
and
guess
it's
that's a fair
Europe,
assessment. Yeah.
yeah, it's the European industries that were driving that.
Hmm.
So, uh, I think I'll still do networking. I think I'll still do networking certification, because I still think that a security certification has to require networking aspects to it. But networking just seems so boring to me. Like I'm not excited at all
Yeah, it's a
about that
different
journey.
it's a different discipline, really. Entirely different discipline. I mean, you have to know about general networking principles to be a software developer, but like it's generally abstracted away for the most part.
And it's the thorn in my butt cheek Like when I can't figure out whenever you're I'll speak for myself. Working in a highly secure or in a highly secure area where there's hella like red and yellow tape all over the place and everything must be secure and you have to log into a VM and then within that VM you have to log into another VM to write code and like you can't generally like just connect to certain websites or whatever or connect to a database server and you're scratching your head like all right, I verified this database connection string 3 times. I should be able to connect. I'm on the phone with the database folks. They ran their diagnostics. They tell me that there shouldn't be an issue. I should be able to connect. I have no clue when I don't know what the issue is. And then behind the scenes, you realize that there is some update in the network constraints, by
Hmm.
some networking vendor. And it takes like 8 hours to figure that out. That's the part that
Go back to the private sector. It's
I
a
mean,
lot
it's
easier.
you don't know how
I
many
I
times
I'd
that
drive
has
me
happened to
nuts.
me. It keeps happening.
I don't think I'd ever get into government development or medical. To be kind of scared about medical, but
It keeps
uh,
happening.
yeah, I have no interest in that at all. I'll stay in fintech or e-commerce or any of those kinds of adjacent. Although fintech is pretty regulated too. E-commerce is the wild west, though, man. You could do everything in e-commerce except for credit cards. Those are pretty locked down. Hmm.
Yeah. So networking and security, I think ultimately that's going to be the bread and butter when it comes to stability. And one would think a lower probability of being laid off. Um, it's going to take me. It would take me 4 to 5 months to knock that off, and that would directly compete with my physical health of trying to be healthy and not have aches and pains. So that would that would challenge my morning and evening routines of daily workouts or daily fitness,
Mm-hmm.
which as I grow older seems to be more of a priority.
You ever thought about making a video game and releasing it? Do a fixed product, not some whatever.
That would take more than 6 months,
Well, yeah, but I mean,
and
you ever
I don't.
tried game programming? It's like
I spent a week investigating it. So I started a reading group with one other person in which we were going through what was the framework that Microsoft
XNA.
was that it?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
I
why does that not
assume.
why does that not seem like it's it? That was from like 10 years ago.
Well, so XNA was big. Yeah, about 10 years ago.
Basically, you could write C# code.
Yep. It's still
Yeah.
big. I mean, it's monogame is still is the like monogame or FNA is another two spiritual successors to that. But those things are still running, and we've got a lot of there's
Yeah.
games that
So
get released on them every year.
I started a reading group, and we were going through the chapters, and we were implementing the examples, and then we both lost interest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is about game programming and stuff is that like the programming is one thing, but the design is like I actually like the game programming because it's interesting. It's feels a heck of a lot more interesting than reading and writing to the database all the time. But the actual game, like designing a game, is actually a hard thing. Like coming up with, okay, this is the kind of game, this is the kind of creatures or things that you're gonna do. This is the system that you follow. Um, but I don't know. There's some niche game products out there that I mean are intellectually engaging that you probably don't even know exist. But You ever looked at like these like really in-depth either roguelikes or ones where they have minimal interfaces but really really in-depth experiences?
I mean,
Like Dwarf Fortress or
I watched the Netflix documentary. I think we discussed it a while back on it was two video game garage
yeah,
programmers.
yeah,
One
Indie Game
was
the movie.
Meat
Yeah,
something.
Indie Game the movie. Yeah,
I mean, they put hours into those games. Not hours, I'm sorry.
yeah,
They put like years into those games.
yeah, yeah. But the thing is, you don't have to put years into a game. You could time box it and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend a month to build a very simple game, and I'm going to release it on Steam. It's $100 to release on Steam. You could wipe that off your bucket list. I've got a game that I'm selling on Steam.
I would if I didn't care about the time that I have remaining, I would probably try to implement Pac-Man.
Yeah, and then just make a variant of it, put it on Steam.
Nope, I'm gonna call it Pac-Man. I'm gonna take all the trademarks.
Pac-Man, Pac-Man. You should make a game called
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man. You should make a
Pac-Man.
game called Pac-Man where you're actually just trying to raise money for a political action committee. And so you're the Pac-Man.
No, I would kind of like McArnold's. I would have Pac-Man
McDowell's.
or McDowell's.
McDowell's,
And
yeah.
the only difference is in the game Pac-Man, I literally just put like dreads on the ghosts and
I bet that there's like games like that out there on Steam. Steam's got a lot of random stuff. Pac-Man. Let me see. Could be M-O-N, Pac-Man. Oh, no, there's no no Pac-Man. You could do it. We be Jamon. Yeah, no, dude, that would be something different, right? Though, if you actually said, "Hey, not go overboard, not try to build, a Super Meat Boy or anything like that, but literally just go through the process of building a simple game with some straightforward mechanics that you probably will never make money on and releasing it on a platform."
And what's the return on investment? How is that going to further? How is
The
that going?
journey. It's the you got to focus on the journey. So it's about the giving you something to actually put your mind to rather than ruminating or brooding. The journey, like, I guess that's a lot of it, is giving yourself something to strive for and having a goal, and it's an achievable goal. It's not like a SaaS product where you could spend a bunch of time building it and it's literally never used. Now you could spend a bunch of time building a game it's never used, but it's a one-off thing. You're not going to have to keep it running or whatever. You could just release it and it'd be done.
So I
do some marketing.
Do I build enterprise Pokemon that
There you
connects to Azure and runs on a VM and all that other like?
Maybe build like a multiplayer game. Yeah.
Well, no. How do I kill two birds with one stone? Training for my network or my Azure network certification while building a Pokemon game.
Don't trade for the network. Just to build the Pokemon.
No, I have to have potential to earn more money.
Well, there's potential. I mean, you could earn money making a game. I mean, you could roll that dice and have somehow built something that's really niche and neat and catches fire. Like, imagine, look at how simple of a game like Wordle is, right? Wordle's a pretty simple game.
Who?
Wordle? That puzzle game that comes out every day, Wordle.
Oh,
I don't know much about it, but it was a big deal. New York Times bought it. But it's like you get 6 chances to get a 5-letter word, and it comes out, I think, once a day or something like that. It's like a super simple game, but somehow it's probably because of its simplicity and how hard it is to build something simple that it was pretty successful. Or like, remember Flappy Bird when that came out?
Yeah.
That guy didn't expect anything to come of Flappy Bird. He ended up
Let's
having to shut everything down because so many people were, into it.
let's create a game called Sperm.
Sperm.
It's very simple. You're a sperm and you're going through a maze called the fallopian tubes to
Yeah.
to fertilize the egg.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of like herpes viruses that are trying to block you from doing it. And yeah, it'll go
Yeah.
viral.
That the real hardest part about game development is just having is really the art assets and sound and all that, because it's not a discipline like that I'm too familiar with. Like, you literally just have to pay someone to do that bit to do you write like programmer art, or you find like packages of assets and you use them to build it. But then if you're going to release a game, it's like you got to replace those assets with.
Why hasn't anybody made a game in which the sperm tries to?
I'm sure that it's been made. I guarantee it's been made probably dozens of times. It's probably just never been commercially successful. There are a lot of. Have you ever been on itch.io?
No.
Go to itch.io. There's a ton of games on there. It's all, people making indie games essentially. There's some pretty big ones, but also, look at the tools on those games. And have you ever thought of just building a standalone non-network enabled tool to build games? Like, there's tools that that people make money on. It's not quit your job and only do this money, but some of them for sure.
What's midnight snack?
Oh, did you go there? I don't know.
Yeah, I went there.
Balloon Jerks. I know there's a ton of games on here, but tools and other things. The thing that's nice about, like I said, about a game is that it can be a standalone thing, that you could just build the thing once, deploy it out there, and potentially make money on it. Versus like something like a SaaS product or whatever, where it's an investment of time until it you're looking for an exit later. It's not a fixed product that you have. And games you really don't have to do a lot of support for. I mean, maybe a little bit, but
You're saying that I feel like you're getting more excited. I think you're excited talking about this, but you probably don't have the time because you have kids.
I don't have I've learned that I just don't have the
stamina.
No, I don't have the game design. I'd spend tons of time programming something. I'd be just fine doing that. I don't have the desire to design a game, or the like putting it together. That's the hard part, is what are you actually going to do, and coming up with all of the systems is really the hard part. Like, getting down into the detail, building a detailed system for something like a combat mechanic in a roguelike sounds really cool, but there's a lot of math and systems work involved in that. I don't know. I thought about, for a while, I was going to pursue a game. I wanted to make a game that involved like a gargoyle type character that was reminiscent of. There's this game called Demon's Crest. I don't know if you ever. It was based on another game before that, but Demon's Crest is like, you're this gargoyle and you go collect these like different crests, and then depending on which crest you apply, you have a different set of abilities. Like, you transform. So there was one that was like air, where you had a lot more flying abilities. There's a ground one where you rammed into things. And you'd have to switch your crests out to basically make it through the different parts of a level or whatever. The bosses were kind of neat. I didn't like the aesthetic very much, but the idea of having a gargoyle-esque character that could fly and was on some sort of journey or whatever, hero's journey. But games can be as abstract as you want them to be, like checkers or something like that, or as story driven as you want. There's such a wide variety of games out there. But like I said, from a terms of building something that has some potential to just even make $1 back, it's you could do worse. So because it's like you could build a good game and nobody plays it, and that's bad if you're trying to make money off of it. But if you're trying to give yourself something to do with the potential, it's one of the few things that you can write code in that doesn't have to be networked, which is just nice.
On that note, I think I'm going to get ready for work.
All right. Yeah.
Thanks for the feedback and encouragement.
Yeah.
We'll catch up. See you.
Yep. See you. Bye.